Monday, March the 18th, 2013, and I'm down in a misty West Berkshire, as you can see there, Mortimer. Today about to undertake the last walk that needs doing in Book 1. Unbelievable, 52 walks nearly completed. This one being walk 33, which is from here, Mortimer, to either Aldermaston or Theale. Depends on the weather today. I am hoping to do the 13 miles to Theale, but there is rain forecast unfortunately later on. Mind you, the way the weather forecast changes, I've been watching it fairly closely over the weekend, that could change. So at the moment it's a grey, relatively cool day, but nothing like last week. Very little wind at the moment, and as you can hear, plenty of bird song as we approach the spring equinox. So I've either got around 9 miles or 13 to do, depending on the weather. It's 11 o'clock now. Sunset's around 6:30, well 6, but walking up till 6:30, so I better crack on. Okay, a couple of minutes in and this is Foundry Brook, and as you can see, this walk has potential to be problematic. There is lots of water lying around, as I saw from the train window coming in. There's where we're heading, Aldermaston Church over there. Aldermaston, of course, being very notorious for its nuclear facility and various demonstrations down here, amongst other things. St Mary's Church, Stratfield, Mortimer. Quite amazing the amount of birdsong today. Great contrast to last Monday when it was too cold for them. Got all sorts on the go, dunnocks, great tits, robins, amazing. Crossing over Foundry Brook again, with the church from another angle. The onward journey through that gap in the fence over there, which looks ominously wet and muddy. Always suspected this might be a risk today, but there you go, the walk needs to be done. Well, there you go, get through the gap in the fence and this is what you encounter, ducks swimming in the fields. This is not going to be a walk for the faint-hearted today. As you can see, the onward footpath is away from the water, but nevertheless very muddy. Yeah, look at those gulls enjoying themselves over there. Makes you wonder if this field of wheat will ever grow at all. Incredibly wet. Just at the footbridge, about to cross the brook again. Point 5 of the text refers to this old platform bridge, what's left of it, on your left after 200 metres. Not sure if you can see them, but over there there's some peewits doing their territorial dance. Lapwings, aka. Lovely to watch them dive bombing, which I can't really pick up on this camera, but there you go, there's a pair of them. Great stuff. Meantimes, through the metal kissing gate, more water. Footpaths over the other side of the field, of course. So you need to get through the water somehow to get to the footpath. On days like today, it's better to continue up the right side of the field and then come to a marshy area, although not sodden like the rest of the field, just here, to join the left hand side of the field and continue onwards as per the text. First sign of gorse today, which I understand becomes more prominent as the walk continues. 6 of the text. It's amazing really, give it a few more months and these little brooks will be all gone, and no doubt the authorities will be calling a drought order again. Just leave Mother Nature alone, that's what they should do. The text says do not go through this gate 100 metres on the left but continue right, but by coming up to it you get this little memorial to Admiral Lord Nelson, which is interesting. The view back from a point just near Brockus Land's farm. Some very interested observers there. There you go. Interesting name, Brockus. Probably some old English meaning. Leave the road at this point, continue straight on. Okay, and at this point where the muddy lane veers left, we continue straight ahead here across this field towards the pylons. Thankfully it doesn't look too bad. Plenty of skylarks around today as well, singing. Always pleasant. Further views back across the valley. We're about 80 metres high here. You probably can't see that skylark, but purpose of that little pause is so you can hear his song. Lovely. Point 10 of the text, just before going under these pylons, we do a left due south, aiming for that stile in the hedge over there. Now it's interesting because it doesn't look like many people do this left turn, hence there's no clear path across this field, which will become an issue in the summer season, I dare say, when the corn has grown. Take that back, the farmer has clearly made the way visible. I was just a bit premature in turning left. And on the other side of the stile, pylons aside, this is the rather pleasant view that you have, with the thatched cottage on the hillside over there that we're apparently aiming for. The stile referred to is now a kissing gate, well, a gate and footbridge. And as you can see, we've now crossed the county boundary from West Berkshire to enter Hampshire. So here we are at the ruins of the old Calleva amphitheatre. And a rather noisy beast behind me. Information board here about the Calleva Atrebatum, maintained by English Heritage. And there we are, entering it. So here we are. Wonder what kind of famous performances and wild animal shows took place in here. Capacity for several thousand people as well, as you would have seen from the information board there. Apparently the town of Calleva Atrebatum was left intact, but buried relatively recently to protect it from vandals and the elements. That's a shame, isn't it? Well, there you go. St Mary the Virgin, Silchester. Information board about the Silchester Trail and Calleva. The church from another angle. Now there are a number of possible lunchtime options here, including that seat in front of a pleasant little pond. However, it's only 12:15, which is rather early for me, seeing as I'm attempting 13 miles today. But as you can see, number of lunchtime possibilities here, including under that yew tree. Church was built around 1125, using some unused Roman bricks as well. Inside the rather pleasant little church, that being the entrance door there. And another angle of the church as I leave the churchyard through the swing gate. As you can see, the onward journey is along the top of these Roman fortifications. Guess the town is buried underneath all this lot. Walking just below the walls. I've elected to come below the walls because of the information panels that apparently are around. Information panel here about the Roman town defences, constructed about AD 270. And immediately opposite the Roman town was an Iron Age tribal centre. Over here somewhere. Helicopter coming towards me for some reason. There it is. Chopper was a Chinook, no doubt about to land at RAF Aldermaston. Anyway, carrying on through woodland as per the text. 18, about to turn left, but just one final glimpse at what was the Roman town of Calleva. With the ruins of the wall on my right here. onward journey down there through that other gate. Following a number of footpaths here, including the Silchester Trail and the Brenda Parker Way, Hampshire Ramblers. Interesting, Brenda Parker Way, eh? God rest her soul, I presume. This Brenda Parker Way has been the muddiest section of walking thus far. Us in the former Calleva Museum. So there you go, from whence I've just come. Silchester C of E Primary School, and the gravel path mentioned in the text. Our onward journey's left here along the gravel path and onto the common. Okay, now on the common, and there's the Calleva Arms in the distance there, which may be as close as I get to it. Not sure yet. My lunch is going to be on one of these park benches which are handily placed near the pavilion. Some kind of war memorial over there opposite the pavilion on the other side of the common. There's a number of field fairs on the common as well, so I've just heard. Can't see any, but I just heard them. So that's Red Wings last week, field fairs this. Won't be about for much longer though. So as you can see, a Fuller's pub. And that's as close as I'm going. Oh, it's just gone one of these benches on the, it's like a redundant changing room now. Will make a good position for my lunch. Rain is forecast now, looking ominous as well. Fingers crossed it doesn't happen. Between 1 and 3 showers are forecast. Don't need that. Point 21 of the text. After lunch now, 2 o'clock. Following the more substantial bridle way, which as you can see is an absolute quagmire. So take a right here, see if I can bypass that. And as you can see, as I mentioned earlier today, gorse is now becoming more predominant, along with birch. And got past the water features, we now take this path to the right. Not ahead there, but into the jungle of gorse and birch. Right, that last section has definitely taken over as the wettest part of the walk thus far. Absolute quagmire in places. Now walking past Heather Bray House into the Englefield estate. There is Heather Bray. Following the trail through the Aldermaston Soak woods, predominantly Scots pine. Very pleasant it is as well. Information board here about the Englefield estate. Ufton Woods, Benyon's enclosure. Certainly nice and peaceful in here. Rather pleasant view, with the sound of a nuthatch in the distance there. That. All this water around, it's a wonder the trees managed to grow at all. Very pleasant clearing that. Looks like the pine's been replaced with birch here. Thankfully, the grey cloud seems to be dispersing. That'd be brilliant news if it doesn't rain. Sun's out as I speak. Point 24 of the text, reaching the road, and the original version of my book 1 walk went across that common ahead of us, which is Padworth Common. But I now understand I've got to do some road walking, unfortunately, as gravel workings have overtaken the common. The original route is still marked here, but by all accounts it's almost impassable as it hasn't been maintained. So there is a footpath running alongside the road with an exit here, but the footpath is so overgrown, from what I've noticed from the roadside, walking against the traffic of course, that I think it's impassable. Which is a shame, because it would have been nice to experiment and find out if it is possible to get from here, as indicated on the map, up to where we're supposed to be without walking along these roads. As I say, I wasn't sure if there'd be an exit. It's not clear on the map, and clearly there is here. Path running beside the road would bring you out here. There's the road, and as you can see, and as marked on the map, there is a possibility of taking this footpath here, which would bring us out somewhere near where we're going anyway, up Chapel Lane, or Chapel Road, whichever it is. Interesting, continuing along the roadside to Chapel Lane, which I've decided to do, and we have a wildflower verge here. Or, immediately opposite Chapel Lane, there's another exit from the wood. Maybe that could be explored as an option to avoid walking along this rather busy road. There is Mortimer West End Chapel, Countess of Huntingdon's connection. The cemetery thereof, and just looking at the map, it would be possible to branch off left in the middle of the wood, Benyon's enclosure I think it's called, and end up in that corner. So for those that don't want to do the road walking, that would be a possibility. I mean, the original route has been changed anyway across the common, so it doesn't really matter if you want to be faithful to the text. But to avoid that road walking, you could do that, follow the left hand track as shown on the map. Okay, something really needs to be done about this section of the walk. Very busy road I'm on here. There's a 50 mph sign, just about to pass this metal barrier. Following this footpath marker across what appears to be some very damp terrain. Confusingly, there is a 50 mph barrier 200 metres behind me, which has a footpath off to the left. So don't be confused with that. Although I do believe ultimately they might end up at the same place anyway. But something really needs to be done about this section of the walk. As you can see, entering Padworth Common, which looks like it's going to be wet. So you have either a permitted bridleway, which looks like it's an absolute quagmire further ahead there, or the way we're going, away from the road, along this footpath, which doesn't look quite as damp. As mentioned in the feedback somewhere, I believe, this section is very wet due to the nature of the underlying soil. Very pleasant though. can imagine in summer it'd be, or dry conditions, it'd be very pleasant. Not too bad today either, really. There are some serious pools of water. This would have been really depressing if it had been raining, but as it's not, it's very pleasant, delightful. Interesting. Someone's laying on food supplies out here in the middle of the wood. Hence all the tits around. And I've just seen something very large and brown fly up off the ground. Jack snipe or something of that kind comes to mind. I'll have to check that one out when I get back. Just highlighting the extremes that occur in this kind of landscape. There's a common problem in the spring, late spring, early summer. Look at it now. You'd never guess, would you? Couldn't see any cottage called Birch Cottage, but clearly I did a left out of the woods, and this is our onward journey. Looks like the original Croft Cottage has gone to be replaced by some new developments called Croft Cottages. Point 31 of the text, onward journeys ahead, not the path into the wood on the right. So the barbed wire fencing starts, and behind it apparently is a buried BP depot. Recent work's been going on here on this BP site, indicating that it's still active. Newly laid pipes, for example. It's incredible the amount of water there is everywhere. Following the footpath past Upper Lodge Farm, point 33 of the text, and I didn't encounter any issues there, as some have done in the past, or just before it anyway. Still walking beside oil refinery workings here. Clearly see here deer prints. Something else behind it as well with 3 toes, but the other toes are deer, of which there are far too many at the moment, and as I continue to say, substitute the beef problem with venison and we deal with both problems. Hasn't done the blue bloods any harm, has it, venison? Arriving out opposite the entrance to Padworth College. Memorial stone to those that died in the Great War, just opposite Padworth Church. God rest your souls. Okay, here is Padworth Church, where time stood still, because it's now about 3:30. Interesting. It's been screeded for some reason. Yeah, it's been pebble dashed. First time I've seen a church like that. As I say, I continue to be amazed by our variety of churches. Never see one that's exactly the same as another. Which is good, isn't it? Seems to be a feature of this area, seeing as I saw something similar at Silchester. A bench underneath the yew. This one dating to 1907. Turning right by the 5 concrete mushrooms ahead of me there. Okay, got 2 potential issues here. First is the horses, but they're less of a concern. But beyond that, got this water to deal with.
I never thought about that when I saw him. I thought unless you've got a boat, you're not going to get down there, is he? And that's subsided.
That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, it's gone down because you see the green at the back. You couldn't.
I've taken local advice, and because that field yonder is actually impassable to Aldermaston Wharf, I won't be able to get across there. So what I'm going to have to do is go back on myself past the college and follow the B road past Lodge Farm on the map, which will take me back into Aldermaston ultimately. Well, it'll join me back up with the canal anyway, which is where I need to be ultimately. So the end of this walk is not going to be a perfect picture of the actual walk because I can't finish it off. Look at that water over there, incredible. God knows where it's come from. So luckily there is an alternative route here. Because of flooding down there at point 37, I'm going to miss out points 37 to 41 and take this footpath through the grounds of the college to join up with Lodge Farm on the map, and then the Kennet Canal footpath hopefully. So points 37 to 41 will not be recorded unfortunately. The alternative route through the college is actually very pleasant anyway, so bear that in mind if you have to get diverted or be diverted like I've just been. Interesting. I wonder why they'd want to go in there anyway. It's an incredible amount of flooding over there on the original route. And that lady told me that it was a lot higher this morning, so it's gone down quite a lot. Anyway, soon be at Lodge Farm. Padworth College from its lofty vantage point. Wish I could be like David Watts. Fa 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 fa. Walking down past Lodge Farm, where there is a rather vicious dog, I might point out, a large one as well. At least we get to see some alpacas and other animals down here. I'm on the road now, just past Lodge Farm. You can see how bad the flooding is down here. I guess earlier in the day the road would have been flooded itself. I'm now stood above the Kennet on the road bridge, and you can see how high the water is. Moving very quickly as well. There is a footpath indicated down there on my right, which goes along. Wow, there's a barn owl. My goodness, look at that. Amazing. Well, I never. So as I was saying, now next to the Kennet Canal footpath. So we'll take this back to Theale. It's around 4 o'clock now, so plenty of time to finish 4 miles. And it hasn't rained thus far. Fantastic. Okay, there's a train at 18:09, which would be about the right timing for me now. So if I get my skates on, should get it. Talk of the devil in the background there. Shame I couldn't get into Aldermaston past the bridge and the wharf and all that, but there you go. flooding prevented play, stop play today. Looking back at the road bridge that I've just crossed over, so clearly this canal is still used. Kennet. The first of a number of locks that I'll no doubt be passing. So despite the frost, catkins are beginning to open up. Pillbox, relic of the Second World War, second one I've seen along this stretch of canal. Another pillbox at Alder Bridge, with the view there from. Changed to the south bank now, having been walking along the north bank from Alder Bridge, sorry, Padworth Bridge. I'm stood on Alder Bridge at the moment. Now walking beside the Kennet, which is, as you can see, very high there, to Theale Mill. Kite up there ahead of me. There it is. Getting into their territory again, I guess. This area is clearly popular with owls. I do believe that's an owl. Looks like another barn. I haven't got my glasses on, so my near vision is poor. I'll check that out later when I get to see it properly. Long-tailed tit there right above my head. I don't know if you can see that clearly, I can't. Gone. So here we go, 2 miles to go, 8 to Reading. There are Arsenal's next opponents, by the way, for those that are interested. So here we are, Theale Mill. As this swan comes in to check me out. It's alright mate, I'm not going to interfere with you. The gulls really are having a field day, if you excuse the pun. Should be down at Brighton or Yarmouth or Sea Houses. In a field near Reading. It's bizarre, isn't it? Then again, so is this amount of water. What a glorious afternoon it is. Temperature's perfect for walking. In the low numbers. And the weathermen were wrong again, thankfully. No rain thus far. Fingers crossed for finale. Sluice and weir over there, with what appears to be a footpath going across it. The canal's actually breached its banks here. So high is it. That's why there's this little overflow brook down the side, no doubt. Some swans swimming in a field over there, with some geese not far away from them. Really is unbelievable times at the moment. Well, for me anyway, because I don't recall seeing anything like this previously. No I doubt it's going to become more frequent though as the planet warms up. Just passing Silchester swing bridge. Very ingenious designs these, as you can see. Interesting position for a bench over there. Even the swing bridge protection's been breached. Water everywhere. Even the overflow brooks burst here. Incredible. My goodness, got a problem here. The towpath's underwater. I'm stood just next to this lock. Let's see what we can do about getting past this flooded section. What's happened is this fishing lake's overflowed. Where they've cut that tree down, it's just pouring into the canal. Giant heron just flew out as well as I walked past. Anyway, got through, no worries. It's looking a bit grey and ominous now. Need to get my skates on, but at least I'm quite close to the station, it would appear, if this is Theale Lake. There is said bird. What a beautiful shot that is. Yeah, perfect position for you, eh? Above a fishing lake. The tree felling going on here very recently, so opens up the lake. Clearly when the Saturday Walkers Club last did this walk, they wouldn't have had this vista. You can even hear the chainsaws in the background as I film. Here we have more of the towpath flooded, lake into canal. Absolutely amazing. Still evening. Just me, the bird song, and these flooded towpaths. Absolutely incredible. What a great shot that is. There's another old pillbox, and over there in the distance, very interesting old waterworks, or a mill of some kind. Fantastic. I'm hoping that I'm at the appropriate bridge now where I turn off. Sheffield Bottom, I hope this is, because there are cottages next to it. Yeah, this is Sheffield Bottom swing bridge. With its modern additions. White cottages just next to me here. So here we are, 5:30 back at Theale. After a very pleasant walk, albeit that the latter sections were flooded in places. So, walk 33 concludes book 1. Every walk accounted for now. I will go back and redo some of the early ones I did 4 years ago. I started these walks in May 09, so we'll redo the early ones that I did on my mobile phone, and possibly some of those that took 2 parts to film, because at that time YouTube wouldn't allow me to upload one whole film. So not quite finished with book 1 yet, I don't think, although I've now completed every walk. Yeah, so I would suggest that diversion in the wood that I mentioned earlier to avoid the road walking. The Padworth Common and the section by the canal can be very wet underfoot, almost impassible actually, unless you've got Wellingtons on, but I got my gaiters, so they act as the same thing. Yeah, they need attention after heavy rain or floods. So being in March, we're now at high flood alert time. So a lovely 13 miles done.